things, but underneath all of that is the Bible. I am unapologetically 100% in favor of it is the Bible. Jesus is the Word. There is no delineation. If the Bible says it, that's what Jesus is, and that's what Jesus believes. That's what this podcast is actually about, is to actually alert people to what is coming and what is our responsibility in the midst of it.
Allison Steiner with Lindell TV.
You want to show up and ask me a question about a legendary leader like Nancy Pelosi? Get real.
Congresswoman Pelosi, why did you refuse the National Guard?
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points?
Are you selling pillows today?
Yeah,
I'd like to talk to you about your joke of a media outlet. What a fraud you are.
I assume you believe also that Donald Trump won the 2020 election. Then a little conspiracy theory mindedness.
Is that a conspiracy theory or is that a fact? Are Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody.
Little trouble about your mental health.
Troubled about my mental health. Senator Warren, you were nowhere to be found when people were sounding the alarm over COVID censorship.
Thank you. Quit it. Stop it.
Secretary Kennedy, he's a quack.
This is the kind of journalism we don't need.
Chairman Comer said you had Jeffrey Epstein over for dinner and took money from him.
Was that a serious question?
You don't need to ask that question.
Wait a minute. Excuse me.
You're just trying to get controversy here. You're not going to get it from me.
Hi, Congresswoman Omar. You were just talking about how Trump's economy has failed the American people, but I think the American people really want to know how you went from a negative 65,000 before coming into Congress to over $30 million in just 7 years.
My disclosure is public now.
Yeah, it is. And so a lot of people now are looking into that and finding S. Crew Winery, a winery that doesn't actually seem to exist. Is that a real winery, or?
Do you all actually look at and read things, or do you just ask silly questions?
Well, it's listed in the financial disclosure, so can you explain it? Because we have a lot of questions about it, and things just aren't adding up. There's no real phone number. There's no real location.
Why did you want to buy some wine?
Probably not from you, to be honest. Recently stated that the American people should be afraid of the white man. They should be fearful of the white man.
I never said that.
Yeah, you're on video saying it.
Our country should be more fearful of white men across our country, because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country. No, I did not.
Yes, you.
Again, this is like what I said. You need to prepare yourself, because you can't continue embarrassing yourself like this.
So I'm just a liar.
What I was quoting was an actual study done by.
All right, thank you, Congresswoman.
I mean, I think he shows it over and over again. He shows up in these big moments. One of the most effective debaters in decades. You look back at his last many debates. He's a skilled debater. He knows how to show up at prime time. He knows how to show up on game day. I have all the confidence in the world that when this next 90 minutes is up, he'll come out successful. He'll come out successfully defending his record, and more importantly, painting a compelling vision for the future. And so I thought it was important that President Biden asserted himself. He picked the date. He moved the calendar forward. He set the tone and tenor, and Trump agreed on all of this. So I think it's a very encouraging sign. I thought it was smart strategically, and I think it's the kind of energy he's going to bring in tonight's discussion.
Both hours, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare, we're trying to provide housing for Black Americans. The impact on the choice, the idea that they're going to, I've been proposing that everybody, the millionaires pay 1%. So no one I've not raised the cost of Social Security for anybody. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. And wants to get away with, get rid of the ability of Medicare for us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it stopped. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
House Republicans are criticizing you for requiring workers to bring multiple forms of identification to sign up for that job. They tweeted, quote, "Let's get this straight. In Zoran Mamdani's socialist utopia, it takes 2 forms of ID to shovel snow, but no ID to vote. Make it make sense," unquote. What's your response to that, sir?
Well, here in New York City, we follow the law, and it's federal law to require certain forms of identification in order for someone to actually be paid for this kind of a job. And so that's what we're asking for, 2 forms of identification. It's a long-standing city program. It's a long-standing city policy.
Is it true it says to convert or kill?
Yes, there is another option. So chapter 9, verse 29.
Tax, right?
Yeah. It says directly there that those who don't accept Islam and those who don't believe in Allah and Muhammad, you are to fight them, specifically Jews and Christians and others, until they are humiliated and pay protection money. So you are to convert them or to make them pay protection money. If they don't pay protection money, you can kill them.
How do you get treated by Muslims?
I usually get the death penalty in Islam.
Do you get a lot of death threats?
Yes, lots of them.
What do they say to you?
I will behead you. I will rape your family.
This is the religion of peace?
Yes. It's very peaceful. Well, once they kill you, it's all peaceful, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen.
But I promise to make life more affordable for Virginians, to never encroach on the Constitution, and I'll definitely never take your guns.
Guys, I recognize every one of you. I know every one of you. You're big guys. How are you? Good. Thank you. Yes, my friend. How are you? Good. You came a long way since I left. I know. I saw him when he was peanuts. Now he's big stuff. How are you? Congratulations. Thank you very much. So here's the deal, fellas. Come on in. So we have. I love you. I'll put it on you. Absolutely. I'm not giving it back. I'm not giving it. I'll trade you that for a pen. Hey, that's cool. There we go. I never thought I'd ever have this on my. Okay, sit back.
It brings up mixed emotions to represent the U.S. right now, I think. Just because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the U.S.
But tonight, man, shut your bitch ass up.
I'm lucky I'm from the best country in the world, and we got great dentists there too.
All right, Tuesday night, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing good. As always, be blessed in the mighty name of Jesus. Aaron and I got it right tonight. It is the State of the Union tonight. So anyway, I don't know how many people are watching. Well, there's 259 people that are watching right now. But anyway, I'm glad you're here. We can always watch State of the Union later. It's a lot more entertaining watching this probably than the State of the Union, especially since a lot of the worst Democrats aren't even actually going. So the tension in the room is a little bit lessened. No Schiff, no Swallows, no Maxine Waters. None of those people are in the room. But anyway, let me say it to everybody in the chat. Let me see who is on. I'm going to go right down the bottom. All right, let's see if everybody keep up with me tonight. All right, Mr. Cool Dude is on. Greg 9 Mon is on. Something like Show Sal, something like 7. Hi back to you. Glad you're on. Johnny F62 is on. Auntie Mama is on. N Johns 127 is on. Johnny, I already got Johnny. JGCK is on. General Plowman is on. Greg 9 Mon is on. Buckeye Nut 1968 is on. Let me see here. Scrolling down. Oh my gosh, it's doing its thing again. What is up with the Rumble chat, man? Look at that, Aaron. See that? See this? Watch.
Oh, wow.
See, I'm showing Aaron so that it's for the record. It's not
it's
user
real.
error.
No, it's real,
not
people.
user error. So we're going to reload Rumble again. So I'm going to say, I know this is like a giant, it's not a waste of time because I like to say it to everybody. Well, okay, this thing is like completely out.
It's not a hoax.
It's not, yeah.
It's real.
It's not user error. All right, here we go. Reloading the podcast on from Rumble. All right, I'm going to turn that off. Okay, but over here. Let me try again. Hitting it again. Gosh, dog, man. There we go. There we go. Let me see here. All right, there's some people. All right, Milwaukee, James is on. Robin Aroni is on. Confederate 1 is on. Peg McGroin is on. Big Jim Go Blue is on. Hefner is on. Luann 5 is on. Spaz 64 is on. Order in the Court is on. Let me see here. Scrolling down. Lita Bonita is on. Granite 2468 is on. Let me see here. Let me scroll down a little bit more. Scrolling down. There we go. Let me see here. Les Cruz Brown is on. Yeah, send me again because I lost it the first time. Trisha Snow is on. C. Densmore is on. Deb Powell Fitty is on. Bob Corley is on. Let me see here. Producer Aaron is on. Scrolling down. Serene Pickle is on. B. Chilled is on. Aphrodite's is on. I'm actually down at the bottom here. Gloyd Shaw is on. Laura Jean Lynn is on. Jules 21 Hours is on. Slylent is on. You guys are keeping up. Let me see here. Let me see. Anybody I haven't gotten yet? Scrolling down. I'm down at the bottom. Let me see. That's pretty much everybody. All right, I've gotten down to the bottom. I screwed it all up, so I missed you a lot. Missed a lot of you guys. I'm looking for new ones right now. See if I see anybody new. Let me see. Anybody pops on here that I haven't seen yet. Patrina C. There's one I haven't seen yet. Glad you're on. Love you guys. Appreciate each and every one of you. All right, let's hop to this now. We got to get to Snowball-ageddon going on inside of Washington, D.C. So I'm going to show you how Zohran Mamdani feels about it and his public statements about it and his pathetic tweet about it. But before we do that, I'm going to intermingle. I'm going to show you what really happened, then some Zohran comments, then what really happened from another area of the park, then some Zohran Mamdani comments. So American AF video, New Yorkers spent all day drilling police officers with snowballs. Now, of course, this was yesterday or the day before, but it's gone very, very viral, as a few other things have done. But anyway, it's just such utter disrespect and just utter lawlessness. Of course, it's not in a red city. And just imagine if you and I went out and pelted a bunch of Democratic Party politicians with snowballs. Imagine that. But these are the cops being pelted with snowballs. So here's this is a segment. This is one part of what happened. This is on like more of a giant public street area. And here's what happened. And then we're going to see how Zohran Mamdani lies about what happened. Play for me. Now, you're going to hear in just a minute, but Zohran Mamdani has said that is a friendly snowball fight. Now, I'm just going to have a pool in the room here because I've got Aaron and Joe both mic'd up. Is that a friendly snowball fight?
No.
Now, I don't know if Aaron's ever been in a snowball fight. He's a Florida boy.
I haven't.
Okay, but Joe I know has, and I have been. He's in Thunder Bay, Canada, and I'm Virginia Beach, Virginia. So I've been in many snowball fights, and I never dropped F words in the middle of a snowball fight. I never was going, hoo, and making derogatory comments about the police during a snowball fight. During a snowball fight. Now, this is really key between Joe and I. Neither one of us has ever thrown a snowball at a police officer. All right, so again, it's not, you have snowball fights between your neighborhood friends. Occasionally, maybe you'll hit some citizens that you shouldn't hit, maybe a car or two. But I'm just saying, you don't go and pelt the cops as they're walking down the streets and a giant mob of humanity grunting and telling them to get the F out of there and hit them with snowballs and snowballs wrapped in ice. So here's the thing. Now I'm going to read this to you because you may not be able to read it during, Aaron, if you could side by side that. You may not be able to read it while the video is going on. So I'm just going to read it. Here's Zohran Mamdani's comment. Here's his response to his own police officers basically being mobbed, all right? I've seen the videos of the kids. Aaron, do those look like kids to you?
Nope.
Okay, Joe?
No.
All right, I want to do polls in the room here. So those do not look like kids to me. I've seen the videos of the kids. So there's lie number one, throwing snowballs at NYPD officers in Washington Square Park. Officers like all city workers. Now here comes the deflection. First the lie, typical Democrat. First the lie, and again, I don't know how anybody can be a Democrat because all you do is support deflectors and liars. So there's the lie first. Sometimes it's a deflection first, and then it's the lie. And then it's the deflection. Then it's 5 lies and then a deflection, whatever it may be. But there's never any truth. Officers, like all city workers, have been out in a historic blizzard. So what? We already know that. Keeping New Yorkers safe and cars moving. Treat them with respect. If anyone's catching a snowball, it's me. What an idiot. What an idiot. But here's his public comments. Play for me.
Cancellation can't stop us. We outside.
Aaron, if you do me a favor, side by side that one for me. And here are the kids. Here are the kids throwing snowballs at the police officers. This is the kids having a friendly snowball fight at. If you're Aaron, you go back to the last one side by side at Washington Square Park. There it is. Now I'm not. It's funny because normally snowball fights are mutual. I don't see the cops participating in this snowball fight. I don't see that happening. I don't see any kids. Now, where are the kids exactly? There you have Zoran's moronic fat face right there. Where are the kids exactly? Okay, there's double bird given to him. That's not something I did when I was in a snowball fight either, is giving people double birds when you're having a friendly snowball fight. So you just have to look at what else. I mean, again, I hope that you're a Democrat and you're watching this because you don't want to watch. Maybe you stumbled upon this because you don't want to watch the state. There's another kid. There's the kid with the bullhorn during the snowball fight. The friendly snow. This look, there it is. There's the double fisted clincher right there. The double bird. That kid, cop really looks like he's enjoying it, doesn't it? And I just wonder how you can be a Democrat. You have this liar. I mean, again, if you're going to be a socialist, you're going to be a communist, you're going to be a Democrat, then espouse your alleged virtues with honesty. Okay, or espouse. You could still be honest to be a socialist. You can be honest to be a socialist if you want. You can be honest to be a radical leftist if you want. Why do you always have to lie? It's because nobody will ever accept your policies. Will ever accept socialism or communism without your bold-faced lies. So anyway, here's another one. Eric Doherty video. Breaking: New Yorkers are shocked after Mayor Mamdani refuses to press charges against criminals who hospitalized, and a couple of officers were actually hospitalized. And he calls it, again, a snowball fight. Play it for me.
From the videos that I've seen, it looks like a snowball fight. I think that there were 2 officers who were facing lacerations on their face.
All for prosecution of those who pelted them?
Look, I've seen the videos of this snowball fight. I think that it was a snowball fight.
The NYPD says no arrests have been made, but the investigation remains ongoing. Elections have consequences, Sandra.
Very poignant point there at the end by Fox News. Elections do, in fact, have consequences. And the guy says snowball fight. I've seen the videos of the snowball fight. Are there going to be any charges pressed against these people? Oh, it was a snowball fight. What are your other comments about it? Any sort of ramifications from this incident? No, I believe it was a snowball fight. Now, has anybody seen a video yet that says that it's a snowball fight? I actually waited on this last night. I didn't play it because I was wondering if there was more to the story. So I waited because initially Grok was saying that the reports were that it was a snowball fight. So I just waited on the story because I didn't want to come out and falsely assess or falsely accuse people. So, I mean, now we know. Now we've seen all the videos. Now we know Zoran is a liar. If he's watched the videos, then he's watched this video. I mean, therefore, I am video. Breaking after calls. That's just the title of it. Here's Zoran side by side what he's describing. Play for me.
Do you agree with Commissioner Tisch that what happened in Washington Square Park with these snowballs was criminal? And how can you take steps to prevent something like this doesn't happen again?
So I've seen videos of kids throwing snowballs at members of the NYPD in Washington Square Park. And first I want to say that officers have been on the front line of helping our city respond to this blizzard. They have been keeping New Yorkers safe, and they have also been at the heart of our efforts of digging New Yorkers' cars out of these kinds of conditions and ensuring that our ambulances, our MTA buses can keep functioning across this city. They and our entire city workforce deserve to be treated with respect. The only person in our city's workforce who deserves to be treated with a snowball is me.
Mr. Mayor, I want to follow up on the snowball incident. The head of the PBA says that the people who were involved in attacking the police officers should be charged criminally with assault on a police officer. I wonder if you agree with that, if those people can be identified.
Yeah. I don't, from the videos that I've seen, it looks like a snowball fight.
Now, he's seen this video. And I know that I'm being redundant right now. He's seen this video. And he's assessing. He says, I've seen, and he says, I've seen the kids throwing the snowballs. And Aaron brings up a really good point here. Watch this cop. Now, does that look like they're having fun? Does like the cops? Watch the guy, the man run up behind this cop and smack him in the head with the snowball. Right there. That is a battery on a law enforcement officer. And that would be very easily prosecuted. The kid, I'm falling into Mondani's trap. The grown man who smacked the officer in the back of the head, that is a felony crime, by the way. That's a felony crime. When you live and again, the Democrats don't get it anymore because they're used to, and they've been indoctrinated into lawlessness for so long that they don't recognize when people actually break the law anymore. Because for them, illegals, you can illegally enter the country. That's no problem. You can rape our citizens, murder our citizens. As long as you're an illegal, you get exonerated for it. Until they become the victims of it. Until Mondani actually has one of his own constituents walk up behind him and smack him in the head with a snowball. All of those, every time they're getting hit with a snowball here, is a felonious crime. It's actually a crime. It's a battery on a law enforcement officer. Dude, look at him. Look at this. It's just, I mean, now here's this is more of a full video of this specific part of the Washington. Look at those cops are having a great time with the kids, right? With the kids and the snowball fight. I mean, how could he be a Democrat? I mean, how in the world could you ever be a Democrat when you have your main man now? This is the mascot for the Democratic Party now. This is him. This is the iconic member of the Democratic Party, along with AOC. And wait till I show you the asinine video that they made together, where they're promising all illegals in New York City free childcare. And that's not an exaggeration, man. You'll see in a minute. But anyway, you're a Democrat and you're watching your mayor, your guy. This is really the absolute icon of the Democratic Party right now is Zoran, and you're watching him bold-faced lie. You know he's lying. As a Democrat, you know he's lying. You get so mad at Trump when you say that he's lying and he isn't. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Allegedly, you're so mad at lies. Here it is, the video side by side. Kids, they're not kids, having a snowball fight. They're not having a snowball fight. They're pelting. They're not throwing snowballs at each other. They're throwing snowballs exclusively at your NYPD. Look at that. Look at these. Look at this. That looks like fun. So here's a more complete video, Detectives Endowment video. So here's some, I don't even have the verbiage for it. Just play it for me when you guys can. Go ahead and hit it.
You okay?
I've yet to see a kid. Anybody see a kid yet? That's how Zoran describes it. Kids having a snowball fight. And they just incidentally hit some NYPD guys. They said that incidentally hit some New York City Police Department, police officers. That's just incidental. It's all lies. Absolute lies. How in the world can you be a Democrat? Libs of TikTok video. Here it is. Zoran and AOC just put out a video promoting free daycare for illegal aliens. Completely in Espanol. Play it for me.
Hola.
Mi español no es el mejor.
No te preocupes, alcalde. Si su hijo o hija está cumpliendo 3 o 4 años en el 2026, usted puede registrarlos gratis en el programa Kinder 3 o Prekinder de la ciudad de Nueva York. Pero debe registrarse el 27 de febrero, que es la fecha límite. Cualquier padre de la familia de la ciudad de Nueva York, sin importar su ocupación, ingreso o estatus migratorio, es elegible para registrar a sus hijos.
Regardless of immigration status, free health care. I mean, free child care. And health care too, by the way. In NYC. Again, a budget that he's trying to get. The current budget is $117 billion per year just for the city. That's 8 million people just for the city of New York. The entire budget for Florida is exactly the same, and Zoran is trying to get $10 billion more dollars for a total budget of $127 billion. I wonder why. Because they're giving free health care, at that time, and daycare to illegals. And when all of this starts to fall apart, because you saw this, the crowd of rocket scientists that were throwing, all the crowd of engineers that were throwing all the snowballs at the NYPD officers. When they don't get the stuff that they've been promised, watch the city burn. Just watch the city burn as it goes to illegals. Because again, you saw all those Einsteins that were throwing the snowballs. By the way, they're in the middle of the day. Why are you not at work? Oh, because they don't have jobs. And they're living off the government teat. And it's not just the $127 billion out of NYC. It's the billions coming from Washington, D.C., which is my money and your money. And I've never lived in New York. I never will live in New York. My money goes there to pay for all the people that are pelting NYPD with snowballs. And when all that money does, when the grocery stores, remember they were waiting for 6 hours to get in a free grocery store. So you wait for 6 hours to go to one of Zoran's free grocery stores, and you could go easily make $30 an hour working. You could have made $180 in that same time frame that you're sitting there waiting for $30 worth of groceries for free that you waited for 6 hours for. So you're making $5 an hour while you're standing there. That's communism. That's socialism. And when all those freebies run out, because we've all seen how do all these government grocery stores pan out in Cuba? You ever been through those? You ever watched the videos of the government grocery stores in Cuba? Or the government grocery stores at the end of the USSR or in the middle of the USSR at any time during the USSR? They're always empty because communism, socialism doesn't work because there's no human initiative. And when all this runs out, you're going to watch NYC burn. It's going to burn. Actually, literally, it's going to burn by those rocket scientists, by those surgeons that were throwing the ice balls at NYPD. All right, here's another one for you. Scott Jennings video, Democrat Ro Khanna. Now, Ro Khanna has teamed up with Thomas Massie for their great exposure of the Epstein files. And this is why Donald Trump, and again, I'm not sycophantically supporting Donald Trump. I didn't like what he did with the Epstein files, but I understand what he did with the Epstein files. Because when you're fully briefed on the Epstein files, you see the majority of the Epstein files is actually a leftist hoax. Because all the real stuff has long since been removed by the Comeys and the Clappers and the Clintons, who all had access. Remember, you just have to remember the presidential dates of administrations. You remember Jeffrey Epstein, close buddies with Billy Clinton, all the way up to 2019. Had an office at Harvard up until 2019. That was only 7 years ago. So they were very, very close. Now, look at the administrations that had control of the Epstein files. In the midst of that, you had the George W. Bush administration, which, of course, George W. Bush strongly linked with the Obama family, the Sotaros, through the CIA. So that the Obamas, you ever wonder why it is that it's this love fest every time Mike Obama and George W. Bush are around each other? It's because the Bushes and the Obamas, really the Sotaros, go way back. Via CIA connection. Remember, Herbert Walker Bush ran the CIA, and one of his assets was Obama's dad. I think his name was Barry Soetoro, but I'm not sure if it's Barry or Barack was just named Barry. I don't remember.
Both Barry.
They're both Barry. There you go. So there you go. So they go way back. So you had from 2006 was when his exposed criminal life began, Epstein's, and so you had the Bush administration having control of an Epstein file. Remember, Jeffrey Epstein was not, at all, I want to say, stridently prosecuted. He was basically ordered not to be by somebody. Where you end up with, it has been confirmed that you have solicited multiple underage women for prostitution, and you end up in basically a day jail where you walk in and out all day long. Yourself, you are basically under your own custody. But anyway, so the Bush administration had control of the Epstein file. Then 8 years of Obama, 2008, 2016, the Obamas had control of the Epstein files. That's Comey, Clapper, Brennan, all had control of the Epstein. While by the way, it wasn't, but how long ago was it that Congresswoman Plaskett was being dictated to by Jeffrey Epstein during a congressional hearing. I can't remember whether that was under Trump or whether that was Obama, but it was one of the two. So anyway, so they had control over it. And all of the real stuff that would hurt Democrats has been basically removed. I know some has been left behind, but the real stuff has all been, I mean, come on, we were honestly going to trust that James Comey's going to keep his sticky fingers out of the Epstein file? Or James Clapper or John Brennan? Or any of the other, Lisa Monaco, Merrick Garland, these disgusting, repulsive, disingenuous liars? They're gonna simply just leave the Epstein files as is? No, they're gonna use it for political purposes. They're gonna take out the stuff that hurts Democrats, and they're gonna add lies that hurt Republicans. That's what they're gonna do. I mean exactly what I just said. Because there's really nothing in there to hurt. They can talk about the Bannon stuff all they want with the Bannon conversations with Epstein. I don't like what I see either. I'm a Bannon fan. I don't like what I see either, but they're conversations. The real stuff has been removed. And that's why Trump was saying that, you know what, it's all a hoax. And it's Trump-ese. And you have to understand Trump speak. And when he says things like that, it's all hyperbolic. And it's just, is he Brooklyn or is he, which which borough is he from? Or no, he's Queens. So it's just New Yorker. He's from Queens. It's New Yorker. It's just blanket. It's all a hoax. And we all knew it wasn't. But the thing about it is he wasn't protecting himself by saying that. He was trying to protect the economy by saying that. He's trying to protect the worldwide banking system. And we've seen the repercussions of it with the falls of the Andrews of the world, the other giant political figure in Great Britain has just gone down. But anyway, that's why Trump was saying it's all a hoax. And then now you have Ro Khanna and Massey. And I don't know what's gone wrong, why Massey is short-circuited. I understand being pissed at Trump. I've been pissed at Trump. But what you don't do is subvert a Republican administration because you've got your panties in a wad. I understand it. Listen, you had Trump when he was versus Ted Cruz. I can't stand Ted Cruz. But anyway, Mary's like, lying Ted. And Aaron, when you want to imitate it, you can just jump in. But I mean, whatever it may be. And he came out and said some pretty rotten things to Massey, okay, about his dating life and whatever. I mean, he did. Okay, but, so Matt, and the same thing happened with the Bushes. They completely turned on him too because he attacked Jeb Bush. And rightfully so, because Jeb Bush, was a pompous, arrogant fool on the debate stage. But anyway, so Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey have already been humiliated because they thought that they had discovered all of these names in the Epstein files that have never been revealed before. I don't like attacking Massey, by the way. I don't like attacking him. But it seems like as of lately, he's gotten more politically expedient. He's gotten more politically minded, like he's trying to kind of protect his image. He doesn't need to worry about it. He'll never lose an election. He doesn't need to protect his image. He just needs to go ahead and be the Republican that exposes the deep state, that exposes even establishment Republicanism. But instead, he's decided to turn that ire towards Trump himself, and he partnered with Ro Khanna. Now, Ro Khanna is as corrupt as the day is long. Ro Khanna is so corrupt. He is one of those, and I've got Nancy Pelosi coming up one slide after this one. He's one of the ones that has benefited the most off of insider trading on Capitol Hills. I'm trying to remember. He had over 3,000 trades last year. I think I made $59 million. I mean, does anybody get the level of corruption? I should have kept that. I should have printed it so I could read it to you. There's certain things that I like to read over and over again because of the amount of money that these people make. I mean, Ro Khanna made 3,400 trades last year, and he made $59 million in a year. I don't know anybody who's ever done that. They are out trading the greatest stock traders in American history, and they're all members of Congress. All members of Congress. One of them, I can't remember who it was, made one stock trade and made $20 million. I can't remember which one that was, a Democrat. But anyway, so here's Ro Khanna. Scott Jennings' video, Democrat Ro Khanna has completely lost the plot on the Epstein files. Play it for me.
And then there's the curious case of California Congressman Ro Khanna. Well, he is bringing to the speech tonight someone connected to the Epstein files story. Let's hear from Ro Khanna about that person in Cut 12.
Haley Robeson just wants justice. That's why I'm inviting her as my guest tomorrow at the State of the Union. She'll be speaking not just for herself, but for the thousands of survivors.
You heard the name there, Haley Robeson. Now, Ro Khanna says she is speaking for the survivors, but is she? The files show something completely different, that Haley Robeson was, in fact, someone who worked with Jeffrey Epstein to recruit young women to the island. According to CNN's reporting, and I'm just going to read it to you, quote, Robeson told police she remembered bringing 6 girls to Epstein and told authorities she was like a Heidi Fleiss, the Hollywood madam who ran a high-class prostitution ring. Robeson provided police with the names of some of the girls she had brought to Epstein's house. She gave the officers the cell phone numbers for 4 of them and told police she wanted to assist the investigation in hopes of receiving lesser charges for herself. Here's more from CBS News. Haley Robeson received $200 payments each time she escorted a new masseuse to Epstein's home, according to the police reports. Robeson targeted girls from the rural area outside Palm Beach, where she grew up, because Epstein believed they were less likely to complain to authorities. Here again, Robeson likened herself to the so-called Hollywood madam Heidi Fleiss in an interview with Palm Beach police. And Epstein, she said, once admonished her for bringing a 23-year-old recruit to his home because she was told, the younger, the better. So of all the possible people that Congressman Ro Khanna could bring to the speech tonight to highlight the Epstein issue, this is who he chooses. This latest Epstein fiasco with Ro Khanna comes after he outed 4 innocent men on the House floor by name, whose names appeared in some files, but who had, it turns out, done nothing wrong. He claimed they were perpetrators, and in fact, they were just random people. Seems like Ro Khanna has lost the plot here when it comes to Epstein. Seems that in his fervor to smear President Trump, he's actually doing a great disservice to the truth on an important story.
So again, let's go back to front. What I was talking about there at the end, him and Thomas Massie, by the way, Ro Khanna did it on the House floor. Thomas Massie did it on the House steps for all the media. They outed these people. And Thomas Massie, credit is due. He didn't say the names, I don't believe. I didn't see the entire press conference on the House steps with all the media. But they came out. Thomas was so proud of himself, so proud of himself. We have found these names. Why Pam Bondi? And I don't like Pam Bondi either. But I mean, why Pam Bondi have you not released these names? This is the first time we've ever seen them. These are high-ranking, Epstein affiliates. No, they weren't. They were regular, everyday people that were part of lineups. Do you realize how that works, everybody? Is that basically you will take you'll put together a lineup, it's photo lineup, not an actual lineup. You see the TV stuff where you line up everybody and then the victim picks out who the perpetrator was. Well, you also do photo lineups for people. And by the way, it's a lot easier because you don't have to drag people in and out of cells. So anyway, you do photo lineups. So you just grab any sort of inmate picture that could possibly look like your suspect, and you put together maybe 8 or 10 member lineup. These four innocent people that were exposed in the Epstein files were people just randomly chosen for lineups. They had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Never met him, never spent any time with him, never solicited any prostitution, nothing. And Ro Khanna goes on the House floor and outs them all. And while he's making 3,400 trades and making $59 million last year on top of his congressional salary. I wonder how he makes all these perfect trades all the time. Because he is actually regulating the very businesses that he's investing in, as they all are. And then you have, of course, now Ro Khanna doubles down. I mean, again, if you're going to be a galactic buffoon, you ought to stop at some point. Once your buffoonery has been exposed, you ought to stop being a buffoon. Whenever I've embarrassed myself, which has been many, many times in my life, right in the midst of embarrassing myself, do you know what I do? I stop. I stop embarrassing myself, tuck my tail between my legs, scurry out of the room, and don't do it again, right? But not Ro Khanna. Now, Ro Khanna has already done this. He's already outed the 4 innocent people on the House floor. Well, tonight he's trying to answer Trump, because Trump's bringing in, the hockey team. He's probably bringing in, I'm just guessing on this. It's going on right now. Thank you for watching instead of watching the SOTU, State of the Union. But anyway, we can all watch it later. I'm going to be watching all the clips and everything else. I like watching the clips better than the actual address anyway. It's easier. But anyway, So now Ro Khanna is going to try to answer the Trump administration. He's going to try to answer Donald Trump and his guest tonight by bringing in Haley Robeson, an Epstein victim. She wasn't an Epstein victim. She was an Epstein recruiter. Yeah, but she may have been initially victimized by Epstein. But then she became, after she knows, because I believe her victimization was she was given a massage. He whipped out his stuff and started masturbating and had her do it topless. So that was her victimization, which I agree that it was because I believe she was 16. But then she went and recruited several other girls. It says 6 here, but it seems like it was more than that. But anyway, so I'm just going to use the word several. So she ended up recruiting several other girls, got $200 a pop, and actually was admonished by Epstein for bringing in a 23-year-old because the 23-year-old was too old. She said the younger, the better. And she said that she likened herself to Heidi Fleiss, to being a recruiter for a pimp. That's what she was. And that's what Ro Khanna is bringing to represent the how Trump handled the Epstein files, to represent the Epstein victims. And by the way, it's funny because the Epstein victims never said anything during a Democratic Party administration. It's weird. It's almost as if they're being used by the Democratic Party. Tom, don't belittle the victims. You know what? I start to question victims when they become politically expedient, when they become politically motivated. I mean, I do. I start to question how much they were victimized. I'm just being honest. All right, let's change subjects. Eric Doherty video just in. Tim Burchett with a hilarious response after Bernie Sanders opposed the Save America Act by saying, I don't know how to get my birth certificate. He actually said that. Play it for me.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett. I woke up this morning perplexed that one of our U.S. senators doesn't know how to get his own birth certificate. Bernie Sanders, I think he represents Vermont, but he was born in New York State, I think in 1941. So I just typed in my little cell phone here in the Google search. And if you don't know the Google search, Bernie, that's Google. If you'll click it and then type in, after you get it up at the top, how to get a birth certificate in New York. And guess what? It popped right up, the Vital Records Department. And then you just scroll down and it says birth certificate, oddly enough. Crazy talk. And then I clicked on that and it went through what you need to do. And then you can even use your credit card, which I'm sure you as a capitalist will have a credit card. Or if you don't, I'm sure one of your many staffers will have that. And all you got to do is fill it out. And dadgum, guess what? They'll mail it to you, Bernie. It's crazy talk.
See, again, imagine being a Democrat. You actually have to espouse that you yourself are stupid. You really do. You have to espouse that you're stupid. You actually have to advocate for your own stupidity. We can't vote. We can't get a voter ID because I don't know how to get a birth certificate. Listen, Tim Burchett, I'm guessing, is somewhat similar to me. Okay, he doesn't sound like the most technologically advanced person. Okay, like when I need, like I have to just go to Aaron. I go to Aaron, I go to my son, and I don't know what to do with stuff. Okay, so that's why I was showing Aaron tonight when it was Rumble. It wasn't me. I was finally trying because Aaron always chimes out. Aaron always says the exact same thing my son does: user error, user error, user error. I'm like, it's not always user error. But anyway, Tim Burchett strikes me as somebody like me who's not, he's no tech savvy individual. But he very easily, just like I could, like I order my own stuff and do everything. I can figure it out to a degree. I can't do the stuff Aaron does, but I can do rudimentary things. And you actually have to confess as a Democrat that you're an idiot in order to qualify to be a Democrat. You really do. You have to say, Gavin Newsom is traveling the country right now telling everybody he doesn't know where his birth certificate is. It would take you, nowadays, literally, it still amazes me. Those of you, I'm 57, those of you that are roughly my age, all of this amazes me. I literally ask my wife, I don't do any of that myself. I actually send her pictures and I say, order these things for me. But I said, and it's amazing. They come the next day. It's like shocking how quick you get stuff that you order, whatever it may be. So you literally could get your birth certificate in a day. And to be qualified to be a Democrat, you have to be an asinine idiot. In 2026, you actually have to say, I don't know where it is, and I don't know how to get one. So I'm not going to be able to register to vote without that, because now you're going to order to register to vote. And it's, by the way, it's not to vote, it's to register to vote. So in order to register to vote, you have to, and now you do have to bring a photo ID when you vote. How horrible is that?
Wow.
I mean, in order to shovel snow in NYC, you have to bring a photo ID, your social security number, and some other form of ID also to shovel snow, to qualify for the FEMA funds that you and I are paying for, by the way, for all the idiots to shovel snow in New York. But anyway, the register to vote, you have to prove that you're a citizen via a passport. My wife has my name now, and she can't register because she has my name, and on her birth certificate it has her old name. All you got to do is change it, idiots. You do what Tim Burchett just said. You just change it. That's all you have to do. Aaron, didn't you illustrate that? Didn't your wife do that?
Yeah, she
had to put yourself on.
Yeah, she had to change her name, so she drove down to the courthouse and changed her name. Hard.
And it changes on her birth certificate and everything, right?
Yeah.
So now she can actually register to vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty easy.
How long did it take? Do you remember? Like, did she give you any sort of assessment how long it was?
Probably half an hour.
Once she actually got in, she actually got up to the booth.
Yeah, probably 15 minutes.
Yeah, 15 minutes. Yeah, so there it is. But Demmer, my wife can't vote because she has her old name on her birth certificate. So what? Go get it changed. Prove that. And by the way, you have to do the hoops you have to jump through to get a passport. The hoops you have to jump through to get any sort of ID anyway, to get a driver's license, and now simply to have a voter ID, you actually have to spend a couple minutes getting a voter ID so that we actually have sanctified elections. Imagine not being willing to do that. Why would you not be willing to do that? Because you want to keep elections corrupt. Speaking of corrupt, Wall Street Apes video, it's so insane this is allowed to continue. Nancy Pelosi just bought shares and calls of a company called Tempest. Just 17 days later, the stock skyrocketed and her investment increased. Can anybody guess? 213%. Nancy Pelosi's $75,000 purchase turned into $235,000. Nancy Pelosi made $160,000 in 17 days. That's one of the thousands of trades she makes per year. That's why she's worth, $300 million on $174,000 a year salary. Play it for me.
I don't know why nobody is talking about this, but since I reported that Nancy Pelosi bought shares of Tempest on MLK Day, shares of Tempest are up 117% in just 17 days. Now, what's crazy about this is that she's actually up even more, because if you remember the video, she didn't just buy shares of Tempest. She bought call options, which give her even more leverage. What that means is she isn't just up 117%. Looking at the data, we can see that her original investment of $75,000 is now worth $235,000, a 213% gain since we disclosed it a couple weeks ago. Trades like this are exactly why I tell people that until they outlaw trading in Congress, they should be checking Corporate Quant every day to see exactly what stocks members of Congress are buying and selling. Because at the end of the day, they have access to information that the public doesn't, which gives them a huge edge in the market. Good luck, and until next time.
It's amazing. It's amazing, this the streak. It reminds me, I know this is goofy, but it reminds me of Back to the Future too. Remember that one when Biff gets the book of sports betting?
Yes.
And goes back in time and starts hitting all the bets and becomes a multimillionaire. That's my favorite one, by the way, is the second one. But anyway, this is what Rokana does. And nobody's going to prison. We have Kash Patel celebrating with the hockey team. But nobody's going to prison. This is, again, I guess there's some sort of gold-plated exemption that they have. Well, you know what, and by the way, and I have to give credit where credit is due, and now I can't remember. Oh, it was Burchett. I think it was Burchett. And it was Pramila Jayapal, who's a horrendous, horrible liberal leftist woman. But they were actually working to make this illegal together. So I wonder why that has never. No, it's funny how that never gets through. And I would blame Mike Johnson, but Mike Johnson makes zero money in the stock market. Actually, zero money. He's poor by congressional standards. Literally, he has nothing. He has nothing. But all these other people, just imagine making $60, $70 million a year on a $174,000 contract because you're investing in the companies that you regulate, investing in the companies that you govern. So you know when it is that they have approved contracts because you're the one approving them. It's like right now there's hearings about, I believe it's about Warner Brothers and CBS, which is the entire, CBS is Paramount too. Mm-hmm. So it's all Paramount, Warner Brothers, all that. In order for that, now imagine you're governing whether or not they're allowed to do that under the monopoly laws. And you know weeks in advance that you okayed it. Let's just say, I'm not saying this has happened, but you know weeks in advance that you you approved the purchase of Warner Brothers from Paramount, but nobody else knows it, and then you go invest in Paramount. That's what's happening every day. Every freaking day. And nobody does anything about it as they enrich themselves. They just keep on, they enrich themselves and crash our economy and spend us into oblivion as they're enriching themselves. And it's funny because as they increase our national debt and devalue our own dollar, and eventually if they do crash our own economy, I mean literally crash it, literally make the dollar valueless, all of their corruption becomes valueless. All the money they made via corruption is valueless. So it's always funny to see them actually destroy the source of their own corrupt income. But anyway, so let's go marching around the country. Let's go Dems in California first. Here's another great initiative by Gavin Newsom. Now, Newsom, as we know, along with his partner, Scott Wiener, state senator, loves to lower the criminal penalties for those who sodomize minors. Imagine that's what Scott Wiener and Gavin Newsom and his Mengele wife, Gavin Newsom's wife, who just loves to lop off testicles. I don't know what her fixation is on testicles. She loves to lop off testicles, penises, and breasts of minors. She loves it. That's her absolute motivation in life. That's her cause. That's her meaning. So that's who Gavin Newsom is married to. But when he's not, his work wife would be Scott Wiener, apropos name. And they love to lower the criminal penalties for those who rape anally minors. That's what they love to do. And that, by the way, is absolute fact. You can check on all that. Please fact check me. I love when people fact check me. But anyway, so here's another Newsom initiative. Lives a TikTok video. A convicted pedophile who kidnapped and raped multiple kids under the age of 7. I believe he kidnapped and raped 7 under 7-year-olds, was just paroled. He received, I believe, 5, 6, or 7 life sentences because he didn't just, and you're going to see the video. I shouldn't jump out in front of the video so much, but you'll see the video because he didn't just rape the kids, as horrible as that is. And by the way, his victims range from 3 to 7. He lured them into, this is the classic, pedo way, lured them into the vehicle using candy and Barbies, and then raped them and did horrible atrocities to them at a different location. So Newsom's new cause celeb, his new motivation in life, his new goal is to release those who have put in at least 20 years, even though this guy received multiple life sentences, for basically anybody can be released. Now, if you get it, he's about to release 33,000 convicted criminals who are illegal. So this is no surprise. Lives a TikTok video. Play for me.
Victims was from 3 years old to 7. He kidnapped them. He committed horrific sex crimes.
And now all of that is changing. A parole board has granted an elderly release from prison to a man named David Funston. He was sentenced back in 1999 to 3 life in prison terms plus another 20 years for kidnapping and sexually assaulting 7 young kids, all of those kids under the age of 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. For Fox 40 News at 10:30, I'm Eric Carryman. Nikki has the night off. The Elderly Parolee Program in California allows inmates who are 50 years or older and that have served at least 20 years of their sentence to be considered for early release from prison. Funston is 64 years old. And a Fox 40 exclusive here at 10 o'clock tonight, Rowena Shaddix spoke to the former Sacramento County District Attorney, that is Anne-Marie Schubert. She prosecuted that case. And she also talked with victims who are now adults and Senator Roger Niello, who is working now to change that law.
Needless to say, I was absolutely shocked and stunned that such a decision would be made.
This week, former Sacramento District Attorney Anne-Marie Schubert learned that convicted sex offender David Funston was granted an early release by the parole board on Wednesday.
The age of his victims was from 3 years old to 7. He kidnapped them. He committed horrific sex crimes. He is a pedophile, in my opinion. He's a dangerous human being, but he went to trial and he was sentenced to multiple life terms. The judge essentially said no amount of time is enough. You should never get out of prison. And so now he has this benefit that he can now get out of prison because our legislature decided that we should let people out early. and in fact, he should never actually be released.
And by the way, in the newscast, it says child molester. That's not a child molester. That's a child rapist, by the way. I mean, again, all are horrible. I'm just saying it's a child rapist. David Funston. So how this law works is if you've served 20 years and you're over the age of 60, you're eligible for parole. Should David Funston? Oh my gosh, is that him?
Yep.
Oh, Aaron, you're the man. You're the man. So there's Dave. Now you want Dave to be living next door to you. Now here's the thing. I think Gavin Newsom should allow him to be released as long as Gavin Newsom has him move in with Gavin Newsom. Have this guy who, I mean, if you're actually going to say, what does a pedo look like? There he is.
Yeah.
There he is. David Funston. So because he's, now, by the way, it's not that he's up for parole. He's being released. This is what again, if you're a Democrat, maybe you've stumbled upon this podcast again because you're avoiding the State of the Union address. Can you justify this, please? I would love for you to justify. This is a guy who has 3 life terms plus 20 years. 3 life terms plus 20 years. So he's just served his 20 years, and now he's got 3 life terms on top of that. And he's being released by Gavin Newsom. I mean, you have to ask yourself, if you are a Democrat and you've stumbled upon this podcast, you have to ask yourself, are these people actually trying to kill me or have my kids raped? Because he's about to release 33,000 illegals out of his jails and prisons also, who have committed multiple other sorts of crimes. So you have to kind of wonder, how long is it going to be until Democratic Party policies catch up with you as a Democrat? Because they will. At some point, they will. Because this guy, I mean, how many of you believe he's not going to molest again?
Come on.
I mean, look at the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the guy. Okay. I mean, if he has not molested a kid within 24 hours after his release, I'll be shocked. All right, let's go to the next one. Chad Prather video. I have to see again results of Democratic Party policies. Liberal Oakland mayor, what happens to him? Has his own car stolen outside of his own courthouse.
Poetic.
Eventually your policies will catch up with you. Play it for me.
It's just not safe.
How did Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee's city-owned Ford Expedition get stolen? A spokesperson for the Oakland Police Union tells us it's a troubling but telling tale.
When the mayor's office is broken into, her car is stolen and dumped in Vallejo, everybody is at risk.
OPOA spokesman Sam Singer says the car was stolen around 10 a.m. on President's Day. City offices were closed for the holiday.
An individual broke into the mayor's office, jimmied the door somehow, took the key to the mayor's car and stole it.
The Oakland Police Department confirmed to ABC7 Eyewitness News that the car was stolen, adding it was recovered hours later without any more details. OPD says its officers are following up on potential leads as part of an ongoing investigation.
They have a suspect or suspects in mind and are looking for them now. The car was recovered in Vallejo yesterday. This says a lot about how bad crime in Oakland really is.
In a statement to ABC7, Mayor Lee wrote, quote, "No one in Oakland should have to worry about their car being stolen, whether they're a resident, a city worker, or the mayor. Public safety is a priority across our entire city." OPD and the mayor's office did not answer our questions about whether the mayor's official SUV is kept in a secure garage, nor what steps they're taking to ensure this does not happen again.
I imagine the mayor and her staff's morale ought to be pretty low. They're supposed to protect their office, the city, the residents. When her own office is at risk, it says a lot about how much Oakland is at risk.
There were nearly 6,500 reported stolen cars in Oakland last year, according to city data. In Oakland, Monica Madden, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
So there you go. There's the perfect example. I didn't even plan that. That's the perfect example of your own policies catching up with you. Because you defund the police and you release felons before they should be released, and you don't prosecute felons, and a myriad of other things also where you have all of these people that are not working, that are at home, on welfare, on SNAP, which leads, of course, into criminality as always, and eventually catches up with you and your own vehicle that breaks in. This person breaks into the mayor's office, knows where the keys are, gets the keys, and steals their own car. That's what it means to be a Democrat, and it's only going to get worse, Democrats. It's only going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. That's why Illinois is hemorrhaging people under Pritzker. California is hemorrhaging people under Newsom. New York is hemorrhaging people under Hochul. You're going to keep losing people. You're going to lose all the people like me, and I know you want us to go. Here's the problem, though. Once we go, who's going to pay for all the welfare? Then you know what happens? Then you turn on each other, and then it all burns up. Wall Street Apes video, moron California here, led by moron Gavin Newsom. Oil refineries in California have been closing due to new regulations by Gavin Newsom. Let's look at the consequences of this. Play for me.
California gas prices have jumped 40 cents in 2 weeks. You're not crazy in this respect. You notice the gas prices going up again. We had a nice little break for a second. Well, now up 40 cents in 2 weeks. That's because Gavin Newsom allowed the refineries to close and leave the state, and we are now feeling it. The statewide average is now standing at $4.58 per gallon. That's up from $4.46 just a week ago and $4.18 just 14 days ago. That's a big jump, guys, and that's according to AAA. Energy experts say that the spike is tied directly to shrinking refinery capacity in the state, specifically Valero's refinery, which was a key supplier to Northern California. That's in the process of getting out of town. This follows other pullbacks, including the closure of Phillips 66 in Los Angeles, which has reduced California's ability to produce its own gasoline. We're no longer independent, and that has driven up costs at the pump. This is a new report from Bloomberg saying that California is increasingly relying on imports from the Bahamas. And apparently they are taking this long route via the Panama Canal, which adds to the price. We took in more gasoline imports last November than at any point in our history. 40% plus of our gasoline came from the Bahamas. And that just means that that long trek to get here is costing us more money. In 1982, California imported 6% of our oil from foreign sources. Today, we take in 70%. Remember, there are also...
All right, so there you go. Now, here it is. Think about this. So if you're a Democrat and you goes, you know what? We want to get rid of oil refineries because of climate change. So if you're going to do that, wouldn't you then have to get rid of your cars? Right? You'd all have to then go to public transportation that somehow is powered maybe via electric, which of course is still run by fossil fuels, still charged by fossil fuels. But again, think about the logic. If you're going to be, I don't know what the exact word would be, but if you're going to be, basically a climate change activist, then you're going to have to change your whole life, because what they do is, and this is what bites them in the butt, and their own policies come back and bite them in the butt, is they're like, you know what, we want to get rid of oil refineries. All right, well, if you're going to do that, now you're going to have no gas, right? And in the California, when you are isolated from the East Coast, and basically you have most of the countries on the East Coast, and then most of the country, then the largest state in the union, California, is on the extreme West Coast. So the refineries have to be built on both sides. Otherwise, your gas prices go through the roof because you're having to transport the refined gas and refined oil. So, and that's what they're doing, by the way. They're actually importing it from the Bahamas. But if you're going to be a climate activist and you're going to shut down fossil fuels, then shouldn't you be shutting down your dependence upon them simultaneously? Because you're shutting down your ability to get fossil fuels, to use fossil fuels, but you still totally depend on fossil fuels. Does that make sense, Aaron?
Yeah.
Can you explain it to me as a Democrat? I mean, I would love for you to log on to the chat and Rumble and just give me a detailed explanation. I don't think there's not too much of a limit on your words. Give me an explanation about why you would do that. Because if you're going to send away your refineries, you're going to close them down, and your ability to even, refine gas, refine oil, and you're going to send them away, shouldn't you be then, quote unquote, sending away, lessening, or getting rid of your dependence upon those things? But they don't. They simply close them down and make you pay more as a Democrat. Your own party, led by people like Gavin Newsom, closed down your what supplies you with gas, closes that down so that you have to pay twice as much. Like right now, here in Florida, it's low threes, or really even high twos, like $2.74 a gallon. That's the lowest that I've seen, is $2.74 a gallon. In California, it's $4.58 a gallon because they have to transport all of their refined gas and their refined oil from the Bahamas all the way through the Panama Canal. So to you as a Democrat, your leaders say, you know what? We're all very climate sensitive. We are very climate motivated. All right. So what we're going to do is close down refineries and make you pay twice as much. We're going to close down the refineries, but we're not going to lessen our usage. So we're just going to pay more for the usage. That's what it means to be a Democrat. I mean, why wouldn't you, if you're going to be a climate activist, if you're going to advocate for lessening your usage of fossil fuels, then shouldn't you lessen your usage of fossil fuels instead of just lessening your ability to produce fossil fuels? Instead, somebody else produces them and you just pay more to bring them in. It's amazing to me, the Democratic Party logic. Listen to this one. Wall Street Apes video. California is now doing the same thing New York is doing. Wow, California is tracking down former residents and making sure they actually left and try to collect and pay and have them pay their taxes. Pay for me.
How you know the state of California is hurting? This is the letter they just sent me. Most of you know we're from California. It's probably been like 7 years since we moved out. Please provide a brief narrative of events and circumstances surrounding you becoming a non-resident of California with your response. Provide the specific move-out dates as it was not reported 7 years ago. California 540 non-resident return. For each shipment of households, personal vehicle, etc., items from California to Texas during the period, they want to know how we got everything from California to Texas. They want to see complete moving invoices, any proof that we have of when we left and why we left. Because they want to tax me. Good luck, motherfuckers. You ain't getting a shit. And they want to tax me from the year I left to the current year.
I remember Rush Limbaugh when he moved to Florida, and New York was doing the same thing to him, and that was publicly known. He bought a mansion here. He was living here on the beach, publicly known, and they harassed him for years. And what you need to do with that is just do it exactly what that guy, just completely ignore them. They have no right to chase after you for state taxes. No right whatsoever. Just completely freaking ignore them. But anyway, that shows you. And New York does the exact same thing, where they're actually chasing this guy. Had been out of the state for 7 years, and they're chasing him down to try to get him to pay retroactive taxes. That's what it means to be a Democrat. Let me show you let me show you how Abigail Spanberger's working out in the state of Virginia. And this goes right along the same lines as the refineries shutting down in California, but not the usage. The refineries for gas are shutting down, but not the usage. So now you just pay twice as much. You keep the refineries because you're acknowledging we're going to keep using the gas. We're going to keep using the gas at the same rate. So you might as well keep the refineries. But they don't. They shut down the refineries so that they have a virtue signal point, and then have all of their residents in their constituencies pay for higher gas tanks. I mean, higher fuel costs, because so the Democratic Party politician Gavin Newsom here can look virtuous, because he doesn't care, because somehow or another he's a multi-millionaire living in a $9 million mansion. So he doesn't care if gas prices are double, because it has nothing to do with him. And he funnels state monies to his own wife's foundation so she can receive millions of dollars to run a foundation that gives out millions of dollars. Again, none of them are ever earned by a Newsom. They're just taxpayer dollars. Remember, he got some of the dollars from the Palace Fire concert, too. They were sent to his wife's NGO. But anyway, let's see how Abigail Spanberger is working out here in Virginia, because suddenly, Right Angle News Network video, residents of Virginia are now feeling incredible buyer's remorse as their electric bills are tripling. She's only been in office for a month. Tripling and quadrupling under the state's new Democrat leadership, and one man in the video showing a monthly bill of nearly $1,500. Play it for me.
So can somebody please explain something to me? What the fuck is going on with energy in Virginia? Because something to me is just not making sense. Every single electric bill I'm getting is looking like this. This is how all my electric bills are looking. How is it humanly possible that I was using 1,500 and less kilowatts every single month in 2025, 2024, and 2023, but somehow I'm using 5,000 kilowatts of energy now in 5,000, 4,000, 4,000, 4,000 the last 4 months? Something doesn't make sense, bro. And every time I call Dominion Energy, they tell me that I'm tripping. I need somebody to help me understand how a human can use 5,000 kilowatts when I'm never home. Never home. I don't use TV. I don't use heat. I don't understand.
Yeah, so basically he's gone from 2,000 to 3,000 kilowatt usage per month to now 5,000. So that's all a lie. This is corruption. You know what that's called? When you have the merging of corporatism and governance. Does anybody know what that is? That's the definition of fascism. So I actually looked this up because I've been burned a couple of times. So I had Grok look it up, and I didn't have Grok. Maybe I did. I can't remember whether I did or somebody else did. But anyway, Grok looked this up, and it was somebody else. Grok, if this is actually true, if this was accurate, is this just somebody who wants clicks? Grok says, yes, reports from sources like Dominion Energy and local news confirm Virginia residents are seeing bills double or triple in early 2026, with some over $700 to $1,000 due to record cold December weather spiking usage. Okay, though that would be compared to last year's winter, so that's not true. But anyway, the new Democrats, again, Grok's not lying. Grok is reading off of all the reports that have come in. The new Democrat government under Spanberger is proposing fixes like shifting data center costs and efficiency programs. Oh, great. Efficiency programs. You know what that means? Smart thermostats that can be shut off by the government. So they decide, you know what? We don't think in the summer you should have your house set at 70. We want it set at 78. That's what they're going to do. But increases stem from demand, grid upgrades, and rates. It's not demand. Demand's the same. You saw the guy. And this is winter months. His demand has not gone up, but somehow his bill is showing that his demand has gone up. That's weird, isn't it? Let me show you this one. Ren Williams video. I asked, so that, again, there's been like 50 new laws or 50 new taxes, I can't remember which, but 50 initiatives by Democrats in the state of Virginia, basically turning the state completely upside down and into a totalitarian socialist state. Red Williams video, I asked, how do Virginians sell their grandfathered firearms under, this is a state congressman, under your bill? How do Virginians sell their grandfathered firearms under your bill? He said, read the bill. I did. Every option is a crime. So you can't sell a firearm in the state of Virginia. That's not a grandfather clause. That's confiscation on a timeline. Play for me.
Mr. Speaker, I yield.
The delegate will yield. Mr. Speaker, I would ask the delegate if a Virginian lawfully owns one of the grandfathered firearms that was grandfathered in before July 1 and wants to sell it, how would they go about doing that? Delegate for Fairfax, Delegate Helm.
Mr. Speaker, I think the bill speaks clearly on that matter. This is a bill about keeping our communities safe, and as I said, I hope that given Virginians' overwhelming support, we can move this forward in a bipartisan manner. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, follow up. The delegate from Patrick, Delegate Williams.
Would the delegate yield? I'll yield for another question.
I was wondering what exactly the law does say about when somebody can sell a grandfathered firearm. Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Helm.
Mr. Speaker, the bill is clear on the transfer, sale, import, export of firearms and all of it, and I do encourage the delegate to read the full bill text. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, speaking to the bill. Delegate has the floor. Mr. Speaker, I did read the bill, and we got a problem. Because, Mr. Speaker, even though the patron did not answer how you could actually sell or transfer one of these grandfathered weapons, the bill does say how you can do it. It says that you can sell it to a firearms dealer or you can sell it to an out-of-state individual. Did you know that it is a federal felony for someone from the Commonwealth to sell a firearm to someone who doesn't live in the Commonwealth? Did you know that? Selling also, that can bring up to 5 years in federal prison. So that's not a good idea. And then this bill right here, this actually makes it a state crime to sell a firearm to a firearm dealer. It says you cannot transfer it to any person, and there is no exception to allowing a dealer to purchase a firearm from you. The only exceptions that are in there is the dealer is able to sell to each other and to law enforcement. So the government can keep their guns, but you can't. But what about buybacks, Mr. Speaker? That's a good option. What about buybacks? That's allowed under this bill. It allows a locality to run them, but it makes somebody who wants to participate commit a misdemeanor. So that doesn't make sense. Oh, okay, we can do give-backs. We can do give-backs. No, can't do give-backs because then the organization putting on the give-back can't accept it because that's a misdemeanor. So what's left, Mr. Speaker? What is left? You can surrender it for nothing to the government, just like Australia. You can give it to a immediate family member, or you can die, and then your heirs can inherit it. That's it. That's the only way you'll be able to transfer a grandfathered rifle here in the Commonwealth without becoming a criminal. Thank you, Mr.
You see what they do? And what's so funny is he's simply asking a question, right? And don't be confused with this. What he's talking about with grandfathering is that they have a new rule there. You know, whatever that new rule states is what it states. So what he's asking is, those of us who already own firearms, allegedly there is a grandfather clause. Grandfathering means that you have a different rule than everybody who follows you after the law is in place. So he's just asking, how do we sell a grandfathered firearm? I'm assuming that the new law says you can sell no firearms to anybody ever. I'm assuming that's what the new law says. And Abigail Spanberger's. This is, by the way, this is in a Second Amendment governed state, Commonwealth of Virginia. So all of this is illegal. Everything that's going on here is illegal. But anyway, I digress for just a moment. But you just have to look at the asinine nature of this bill. Because in the bill, they're actually requiring people to do things and saying that it's okay, but it's actually a crime. So they're requiring you to do it, telling you that it's okay, but it's a crime when you actually do it. That's the same thing as basically J6. Remember, there are all these people. Matthew Graves, the United States attorney over D.C. at the time, was a very powerful position, was charging people with knowingly trespassing on J6 and they obviously had no knowledge that they were trespassing because all the gates have been taken down. So they was actually charging people with knowingly trespassing who didn't knowingly trespass. People were going to jail for that. So the Congressman, Ren Williams, is simply asking his Democratic Party co-worker, fellow congressman, how do I get rid of my firearm? How do I sell it? What do I do? And the guy says, why don't you read the bill? Why don't you answer the frickin' question? You know why? Because you didn't know the answer. Typical Democrat. They just have legislation that gets handed to them by establishment leaders. None of them actually read it. They just say, you know what? This is a gun banning bill. And they, okay. They're literally like seals at SeaWorld. Okay. Give me my fish. Which will be like illegal stock trading. So he just simply asks them, so what are you allowed to do with these, with a firearm? Well, you can. Basically, the bill comes down to this. You can surrender it to the government. That sounds great. Who are the Nazis again? Who is it that confiscates firearms? You can surrender it. You can give it directly to a blood family member, or you can die and your family can inherit it. Otherwise, there's nothing really that you can do about it. Because if you go to a buyback, if it actually says in the bill that you can do a buyback. But the problem is, in other places in the bill, it tells you that if you actually sell your firearm to anybody, you've committed a crime, a state crime. And then it says in the bill, you know what? You can sell it to a firearms dealer. But then later in the bill, already established in state law, selling it to a firearms dealer is a criminal offense. Is all this making sense here? What I'm saying? I mean, can you imagine? This is the Democratic Party bill. This is what it means to be a Democrat. It's both, as I always say, asinine idiocy, coupled with malicious intent. So they tell you, you can sell your firearms to a firearms dealer, but that's already a state crime. Or you can sell it to an out-of-state resident, which is a federal crime. That's all in their bill. And what the Democrat answers with, how can I, he's asked by the Republican, Ren Williams, how can I sell my firearm? And he says, it's a bill to keep communities safe. What? That's it?
Okay.
That's it. So the only people that can actually sell firearms in the state of Virginia as of today are dealers selling to dealers or dealers selling to police. That's it. And if you dare do anything else, you're going to frickin' prison. That's what Democrats do, and it's all on purpose, by the way. The confusion is on purpose. And to try to nab Republicans, and the stupidity is just because they're stupid, which will then actually entrap Democrats too. Again, your policies will hunt you down. Eventually, your policies will catch up to you also. All right, 1021, that's good. You can switch over. You can all switch over to the State of the Union if it's still going. Aaron, we got any rants?
Yep, we got 2 of them.
All right, 2 rants. Let's hit it.
Natadad1 donated $50. Some would say this is better than the State of the Union. No one's ever seen any show like it before.
Thank you so much, Nate Dad1. Call you by your right name instead of how Grok says it, Nate Dad. We'll just call you what you are, Nate Dad1. Love you, Nate Dad. Appreciate you so much. Go to the next one for me.
Jules, 21 hours, donated $10. Two Show Tuesday, low.
Two Show Tuesday. Well, I go longer than I'm supposed to go. I'm supposed to stop at 10 o'clock. That's what I promised. I actually promised that. If we do 5 shows, Aaron, you can do it in the Trump voice.
If we do 5 shows,
I'm going to stop at 10.
We'll stop at 10.
But I didn't do it. I didn't keep my word.
Well, we didn't do it.
We didn't do it. But love you, Jules. You're the best. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for being here tonight. The numbers are great considering the State of the Union. I love you guys. Enjoy the State of the Union if you're watching this. If you watch it later, I hope you're enjoying the State of the Union right now. Stick around for the post game. It's awesome. It's patriotic. You're going to love it. Love you guys. Back here tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. God bless you.
This has to be one of the most unbelievable things in sports history. What if I told you that Jack Hughes' goal was 46 years in the making?
What if I told you that Jack Hughes was cut from Team USA?
This is fucking insane. Now, Team USA wins gold on the 46th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice.
It's absolutely mind-blowing.
Everyone knows the movie Miracle. Look, you know Miracle?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what happens in the 51st minute of Miracle?
Something absolutely fucking crazy.
Nothing to see here, just the boys practicing.
Just the boys out there getting ready for the Olympics.
Unbelievable movie.
Best movie of all time.
Now, right there, can you tell me the name that was just cut?
Did that say Jack Hughes?
Can you tell me the name on the tape of the locker being ripped off?
Jack Hughes.
Who was the man who scored the game-winning goal 46 years later?
Jack Hughes.
Jack fucking Hughes. This is unbelievable. What in the Sim shit is this?
I could have swore this was AI. Jack Hughes was cut from the 1980 Olympic hockey team just moments before the Olympics.
They didn't cut Jack Hughes. They delayed Jack Hughes.
This all started with Jack Hughes and it ended with Jack Hughes.
Jack Hughes walked so Jack Hughes could run. If this doesn't give you full body chills, I don't know what will.
Jack Hughes, born 1957, Somerville, Mass, played hockey at Harvard, came this close to winning gold. Jack Hughes, born in 2001, Olympic hero, gold medal winner.
Right out of Back to the Future.
It's unbelievable.
Well, this is the Bible that came out in 1782. It says, and they, Congress, recommend this edition of the Bible to the inhabitants of the United States. So the first Bible printed in English in America came with the approval, the authorization, the endorsement of Congress. But what's more interesting is Robert Aiken, when he made his petition to Congress on why they should do this, he said, we have a Bible shortage in schools. And then Congress gave an endorsement in the records of Congress. One of the things they agreed to was we needed more Bibles for schools. It was, quote, a neat addition to the Holy Scriptures for the use of schools. Congress not only agreed to approve it, they then endorsed. The reason we have the first Bible in English in America was in part so that we would have it in schools. And I know that there's probably going to be people that would come and testify and say, wait a second, but separation of church and state, you can't have religion in schools. The founding fathers believed in separate institutions, but not secular institutions. The very idea from the Declaration was that there's a God who's given us rights, and government's job is to protect those rights. To pretend like we can't acknowledge God, well, then we're risking losing those God-given rights.
Out of all places on the planet, why in the hell would you try and attempt to rob a gun shop? You can see Al is trying to motion Corvette 10. Corvette 10 just opens fire and it's chitty, bang, bang, lights out, motherfucker. I'm sure the man on the ground was a good person. He contributed to society. Who the hell are we kidding? He's a joke, and now he's in a better place, and we're in a better place without his ass. Let's take a look at the replay. You come in watching too many Deadpool movies, coming in double-fisted with his weenie pistols. It was absolutely no match for corn-fed Ted's marksmanship, able to take down his opponent while disarming him at the same time, drops both of his pistols. Corn-fed Ted continues to eliminate the threat. Not sure about the second criminal, but knowing his marksmanship and his accuracy, I would believe that guy's probably dead, too. Just another case of playing stupid games and winning stupid prizes and effing around and finding out. Justice served instantly once again, like a cup of freaking noodles.
She calls America evil. From her iPhone while sipping Starbucks, on an airplane, with Wi-Fi, while watching TV. She drinks oat milk because regular milk makes her feel colonial. She got 8 COVID shots, still caught it, and blamed the unvaccinated waiter. She has a Ukraine flag in her bio. She thinks Ukraine is a clothing brand. She says Black Lives Matter, but still clutches her bag in certain neighborhoods. She used to be vegan, now she's carnivore. Depends on who she's dating. She thinks all cops are bad, then called the cops because someone wasn't wearing a mask. She says she's a feminist until she needs a jar opened. She says, trust the science, but thinks there's more than 2 genders. She got the booster, then posted a selfie with doing my part while spreading COVID in Tulum. She drinks ayahuasca for trauma she invented last year. She says she hates capitalism, but charges $499 for Zoom breathwork. She posts about toxic masculinity from her ex's apartment.
Thanks to all the members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary. I'm not sure I'm going to introduce you all the way. She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured. We'll teach Donald Trump a valuable lesson. Don't mess with the women in America unless you want to get the benefit. Groundbreaking Asian Americans like Vera Wang and Joan Shingang, I'm going to pronounce it, Shanga Kawawa. We'll never forget lying around and him lying around, actually. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. But then, when I signed the bipartisan infrastructure again, which
wandering through the barren land, I cried for water, stretched my hands, but then I found a holy stream, a door to heaven in my dream. Heaven's door in the desert sand, open wide by the Savior's hand, where thirst and longing used to be. Now living waters cover me. The wilderness becomes a song, for in your presence I belong. No dry and empty heart can stay when
950 City, shots fired. They shot one through the back window.
Clear on shots fired. One shot through the back window. That was ugly. City unsuccessful DBI. Just that line. 96 was clear on unsuccessful DBI. I'm on my wheel. I'm going to have to try to get this changed. There's an Alpha 50 unit and there's another more unit behind 950. Yeah, I think it's stopped at the 155. Now I'm passing the 155. Clear on traffic stop at the 155. 155 traffic is stopped. TBI, TBI, TBI.
That was drain pipe that flag was put on. People don't know that. We had no pole for a flag. We didn't know anything about a flag going up on the mountain. So they found this drain pipe and they put it together. And the Japanese used it to get rainwater down in the cave. They couldn't remake their water. They couldn't purify it like we did. We purified our water. It didn't taste too good, but it was pure. And when we get up to the crest and stand there, let's hear that wall. There it goes up. Man, it was a shock. And everybody saw that flag go up out in the bay. All those ships out there let go in the air with tracers and rockets. And our boys that were on the north fighting with the airstrip while we're doing Suribachi, they started opening up with tracers. It was just like a spectacle. It infuriated the Japanese. They fought twice as hard. We put our flag on Japanese soil for the first time in history.
How far were you from that flag?
Well, from here, that picture on the wall.
This podcast is all about. We talk about a lot of political things, but underneath all of that is the Bible. I am unapologetically 100% in favor of is the Bible. Jesus is the Word. There is no delineation. If the Bible says it, that's what Jesus is, and that's what Jesus believes. That's what this podcast is actually about, is to actually alert people to what is coming and what is our responsibility in the midst of it.